Hello again. I remarked yesterday that I sometimes feel that either I am going mad or alternatively there are a lot more mad people about than was once the case. The latest instance of this, that is to say my being unable to work out if people of whom I hear are behaving like lunatics or if it is I who am an old fuddy-duddy or irrational crank, comes from Brighton. The city of Brighton on the south coast of England is of course famous for the high number of homosexuals who live there. They make up about 10% of the population rather than the 2 or 3% in the rest of the country. Because there is so much of that kind of thing in Brighton, it encourages people to be a little more progressive there when dealing with the frontiers of minority sexuality than is perhaps seen elsewhere. Take something as natural and uncontroversial as breastfeeding, for instance. I will start by mentioning an incontrovertibly true fact, which is that only people with breasts can actually breastfeed babies. This is because breasts contain mammary glands which produce milk. When my daughter was small, I took a very active part in raising her, but there was a limit on how much I was able to do. I obviously could not breastfeed her because, of course, I have a chest which features 2 useless and vestigial nipples, and I have no mammary glands. My wife was able to breastfeed our daughter because she has breasts. I dare say that some viewers will be a little baffled at this point and wondering why on earth I am running over such obvious and basic biological details. The reason is simple. The NHS in Brighton has now revamped all its literature on midwifery and removed anything which might be offensive to transsexuals. Transsexuals are, of course, people who feel that they would be better off as members of the opposite sex. Those born female typically dress as men and sometimes have double mastectomies performed, that is to say they have their breasts amputated. Those born male, on the other hand, wish to look like women. They dress as women and sometimes have themselves castrated. In case anybody thinks that this is an attack on such people, or that I am intolerant of all this, or disapprove of the lifestyle, or anything else, I can honestly say that nothing is further from the truth. I am very happy for men to wear dresses and women to wear trousers, or vice versa. I don't care in the least which body parts anybody wishes to have cut off, or who wears makeup. It's none of my business. The problem is, though, that in their efforts to avoid offending transsexuals, some professionals end up offending everybody else instead. That is to say that by avoiding upsetting 1% of the population, some of these right-on fools offend the other 99%. Brighton and Sussex University Hospitals NHS Trust have decided that the word breastfeeding is discriminatory and must not be used in their services. They are going to make sure that in future everybody talks of chest feeding. As I said earlier, I have a chest and of course cannot and could not even when younger feed a baby. My mother could, I should say my wife obviously. Is that a parapraxis, getting my wife and mother mixed up? My wife could, because she has breasts. This is, not to put too fine a point on it, utterly balmy. Nobody can chest feed unless they have breasts, in which case it is not chest feeding but breastfeeding. The expression chest milk, by the way, which is being adopted, sounds revolting. The word father is to be scrapped entirely. This is what I meant when I said that to avoid offending the 1% of these people and now offending the other 99%, I am a father. When my daughter was born, I was proud of being a father and took, as a father, a very active role in both her birth and upbringing. To find myself erased in this way is offensive. The alternative expression which the NHS in Brighton will be using is second biological parent or co-parent. They don't carry the same connotations as father. I resent seeing my own identity done away with in this fashion. The word mother is never to be used alone, in case the person giving birth is offended or upset by being described in this way. It must always be used in a phrase which makes no judgment about gender, as in mother or birthing parent. A lot of this stuff reads like a caricature of political correctness, which is why I give a link to a newspaper article about this in the description to this video. As I say, I honestly could not care less what other people get up to. It does not affect me in the least if somebody giving birth to a baby wants to be called Fred. And no, I'm not making that up either. Somebody called Fred McConnell went to the High Court in 2019 after having a baby. Fred was put out to be described on the child's birth certificate as the mother. You couldn't make it up. I am happy to pander to the eccentricities of others, but I also have my own very strong feelings about being a father rather than the second biological parent. And as for anybody claiming that my daughter received chest milk, that is simply untrue and loopy, and I will have no truck at all with such foolishness.